Hey guys, so today we are going into armors. This is the first armor video focusing specifically on the channel, and I kind of wanted to show you guys why I've decided armors. So as you can tell by the thumbnail, that's what we're going to. So we're going to get into it right now. So starting off, effectively, why am I deciding to go for armors as the deck I wanted to choose? As being a prior Imperial player when I started off the game, I played Imperial ever since it came out when we got our 1.5 special release, and it was arguably one of my favorite decks. I think the deck was really unique and awesome, so I played it even when it got all of its additional support. I played it all the way through BT5, where I think the deck was still kind of viable because jamming was so strong. I ended up playing it even into BT6, but then the deck was really weakening, I think, at that point, even with the addition of like the cards from the All-4 structure deck, which I tried to play. I also eventually picked it up again when we got our BT8 support when it came out, or BT7 or 8. It is 8, yeah. In New Awakening, when we got our support for the deck, I checked it out with fighter mode. I liked what it was doing. I still felt like the deck was a little bit too clunky, I think. And then when we got obviously the structure deck as well, which I think came out just in time, it was kind of hard to pick which was the better Imperial to play, because the new Dragon mode just did a lot more in terms of flooding the board because it wanted to focus on DNA instead of just the old Imperial. So I've been playing it for that long, so VMon is not new to me. I did play the Lydramons, so I do have them. More importantly, I'll just slap down the VMon because I do think this is the most important VMon. So basically, the reason why I want to tell people why armor is that this won't matter for nationals, obviously. So you guys probably don't need to worry. This is going to be like almost like for post, but I still wanted to make some content for this time. So yeah, obviously. Also EX5 stuff. I think armor is still a very good deck because it does have the ability to kind of sneak in and take wins from people. I think it's almost like in the same way I would look at something like red hybrids, because the deck has such a potential to snowball really quickly and get the games completed. I think this is where the deck really does shine, because I think armor as a whole has that ability to kind of take the route from the opponent if they're not ready for it, because armor purge is so unique, because it's so sticking, it does a lot. And I think this is one of the reasons I really did like this card here, which is Lydramon. This card is really good, or Raydramon, whatever you want to call them. My reason why I really enjoy this card when I put it in Imperial was because it was the blue-green bridge, or I just kind of slurred my word, the blue-green bridge for you to use basically both your Dino Beamon if you want, or Pyldramon. But the reason why I liked the Lydramon was that I played it at least at 2 because I always thought the bridge was important. It allows you to kind of do chip damage on your opponent when they're not expecting it, because if you in the early game, one of the problems I had with the Imperial deck in the past was you only had the jamming XVmon. This card allows you to do a quick swing, and if it does die, if you have another champion, you can effectively do that, go DNA, and kind of start to snowball from there. But this is the reason why I like it. So I decided, why not just try armors, because I've never really given the deck a shot, because I had some of the cards for it before. I had Magnamon. I ran it in my Imperial list before to like play it off of the new Imperial, and it was pretty good. Also, we had more support technically coming inadvertently from like EX4 with gold Vidramon. I really like this card. I read it and I was like, wow, this card definitely deserves at least a slot in armor. So I decided I'd probably play one because it does a lot. Also, with the inclusion of, I think this Magnamon is very underappreciated, which is Magnamon from obviously VT13, which is the Royal Knights one. I think it just having blocker at base, but also being able to draw one and then play out the VMon. Although, yes, it's not armor purge, so unfortunately you're not going to be able to continue your checks off of something like Fire Rocket. I think this card still gives you a really big advantage pool, because you get to draw one, and if you have a VMon with an on-play effect, you're immediately going to like proc that. So it gives you additional advantage during your opponent's turn, I think, if this gets deleted, or during your turn. So one thing I find crazy is that you could do, in theory, a search from the previous turn, get this into rotation, have this thing die during your opponent's turn, get a draw one and a search. That to me is like already value enhanced, because it kind of reminds me of what the flame, I think the Flamemon in Red Hybrid that dies and lets you play out another Flamemon, or maybe that's the Agunimon from BT12, allows you to play the additional Flamemon. It basically allows you to get more resources if it's the draw 2 one or the searching ones. So this Magnamon having access to that ability really does give the armor deck an additional layer filtering, which I don't think it had before. I think it strictly had to rely on hard playing VMons and blue memory boost, and now even with training, I think this is basically what the deck kind of needed, was another way to kind of get rewarded from the loss of a Digimon. I do think if it had Armor Purge, it'd be too strong, because then you'd basically be able to do an additional check, you could draw one, and you could play a Vmon. That would just be way too much, I think, and they don't want to overtune it too much. But also, this means that like OG Magnamon right here doesn't go anywhere because it's just too good. You get its ability to reduce DP on opponent's Digimon, you get the Unsuspend, you get the blocker, you get Armor Purge. It's just really, really good. And then also with the inclusion, you do get like Magnamon X, which I think you can't pass up because this card just is really, really good. You get to warp into it, you get the ability to do what it does, and pretty much with the support that we know we're getting, this deck is going to be taken to another level. Now, my big reason for armors is that armors are going to be getting a lot of updates, which will make the deck a little bit more unique among other decks coming out in the upcoming formats. I do think that right now armor is actually in a pretty okay place if you want to give it a shot. Like I said, this deck is kind of, in my opinion, on par with like something like Red Hybrid. My biggest problem with like Red Hybrid is that I think it's all gas, where this deck is tempo. So it can be gas if you want by going aggressive, but it also allows you to kind of pivot into Magnamon and allow you to slow down the game and kind of protect yourself. So this is kind of why we're going with it here. I am going to be having more of the videos come up with armors, just because I still have some more of the cards coming in before I have a full-fledged deck. But I already have a build that I have in mind that will probably be working. It'll be the first budget build of this, because I am going to play this on a weaker level because I don't really want to play it at full power. Not just because I don't want to spend the money, guys, but more so the fact that I want to give it a shot and see what I can do with just the bare minimum I think is required. And you guys are going to see that. So pretty much that's all I've got for you guys today. I wanted this video to be quick because I know some of my content when it comes to the card games can be a little long, and some people like it, some people don't. I personally just think if you guys want to sit down and watch everything, that's even better for me, but I also know some of you guys have busy days, so I don't want to take up too much time. So we have it done today, guys. This was really quick, just an introduction into why I think armors is really good. So thank you guys so much, and as always, this is Brad from the Ad Army signing off. And for all of you out there, to sign on.